Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Star Wars Lads for a surprise video. We're reacting to the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is something I feel like we kind of called now because we talked about this a week ago, like with the new Starfighter stuff. Where is The Mandalorian and Grogu? This is 8 months away. Where is this? Well, it's here now today, and we got a new poster, and now we've got our first teaser trailer. So we're going to dive in, watch this for the first time, react, let you guys know our thoughts on the trailer. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And also, we are going live tomorrow, as we always do, taking your guys' questions, comments, anything you'd like to discuss. This will be a topic on tomorrow's live. So if you want to bring your thoughts to us, make sure you check out our live stream tomorrow and every single Tuesday. All right, let's get into the trailer.
Your razor crest with some markings. Grogu with his An's lens, I like it.
Lots of Grogu so far, and even in the leak trailer, it's totally the Grogu.
Oh, Amian? What is it called? Yes,
Oh.
there we go. Oh, yes. Oh, Ewing? Okay, alright.
Impressive.
Okay. Looks like some sort of hut droid based on the door sign. Mantelian Savrit. Okay, alright.
Good shot, baby.
Nice.
Well, there it is. I mean, that's a full, like, that's a true teaser, which I kind of love. I mean, I guess it's a little late in the marketing, right? We're 8 months away, right? I think now is when you might expect your first real trailer, but I like the vibes that this is giving for sure. And the change in title card, it's very like the poster they put out too, very like postcardy. Like this is really going in on like the adventure and fun and like those vibes. And we talked a lot about in the past, right? Season 1 of The Mandalorian. The end of season 3 kind of reset the story back to the bounty hunter stuff with the Mandalorian, and now this film seems to be almost a reboot of season 1, like trying to recapture the magic of the duo of Din Djarin and Grogu and their bounty hunter adventures. And this trailer, I think, honestly, even more so than the leaked ones we saw, those had some really impressive scenes that they showed on some longer scenes with like the walker and stuff. But this one captured to me more of the vibe and more of the fun of the Mandalorian, more of those one-off adventures. And so I really dug what they showed here. I think I still want a little bit more from like what is the story of this movie, but I'm here for what they've given us, and hopefully, if we get more here in the next few months, we're starting to get a better picture of what they are actually building here with this first movie.
Yeah, definitely agreed. I mean, the celebration trailer actually has like the whole hallway sequence with Din Djarin. That feels more of a Din Djarin trailer. This feels more like a Grogu trailer.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a lot of sense because they're trying to really justify what still is admittedly not the best name that we have here for this. It's the Mandalorian Grogu, but again, with that new font change, the poster looking super pulpy Western, and having all these different faces kind of floating around, like you said, postcard feeling. It makes sense, and I'm liking that there is still season 3 connections with the Anzalans, like kind of joining forces with Grogu, kind of being like his smaller, older brother crew of sorts. I like their little like scooter air speeder thing that they're all flying on together. I'm liking these connections to season 3. Don't like let them disappear. But like combine it with like the more Western feeling and more of like the excitement of the adventure that was definitely there when we saw it in season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
The world has expanded a lot in season 3, but did it really expand and really reach its potential with everything going on with the children on the watch and how Bo-Katan factored in? And not so much, right? And we always felt like there were things that almost were like cut out from season 3. Hopefully they can be introduced here just with that flavor of season 1 and season two's Western feel.
It'll be nice to give homages and nods to the show. I think really this wants you to re-experience this world for the first time, and it definitely captures that whimsy of Star Wars, like the creatures, all the puppetry, all of that is one of the reasons we kind of fell in love with the Mandalorian in the first place, was seeing that type of Star Wars, that realistic kind of grimy original trilogy style Star Wars on TV for the first time in live action. And so this trailer in some ways does have a lot of cinematic qualities. I think the stuff that was leaked, like that's the Walker scene, that is a little bit more cinematic than kind of anything they show in this trailer. Like this does look like something that could be the next season of The Mandalorian, but there are certain shots that just have a lot more kineticism to them. Like something like this is the way it's staged, and yes, it's cut up, obviously for the trailer, but the way it's staged feels far more cinematic than something you would see in a TV show. I mean, Zeb here, one of my favorite shots for sure of the trailer, is seeing Zeb move. I mean, that's just something you wouldn't have seen in the show. You wouldn't have seen a VFX shot like that, a VFX character move so smoothly and quickly. I mean, obviously, we saw a lot of digital VFX with spaceship battles and stuff like that, but there was always something with the volume and something with the way these things were staged that felt like they were smaller than they could have been. I think the big mission statement of this film is to prove, why does The Mandalorian need to be on film and instead of in our living rooms where we all are accustomed to watching it. And I think this is a good start at showing us why we can kind of get an elevated version of The Mandalorian and effects and creature effects and just even locations like the water and stuff is something you don't often see
Mm-hmm.
in The Mandalorian. Now, hopefully, again, the next trailer gives a little more story, kind of shows us some more sweeping epic moments that really sell it as a piece of cinema. But there are a lot of people out there who are going to think this is season 4 of The Mandalorian. They might not stay till that final title card that says in theaters in May 2026, right? Which is also, I thought, interesting. I've kind of speculated, just because it's such a iconic and profitable weekend for them in the past, maybe they would move this up to the Avengers date originally. It's the first real weekend of summer. You don't really have any competition. You have more competition on the back end than the front end, whereas Memorial Day weekend, you have front end competition and back end competition, harder to have legs. And Disney usually releases a new Pixar movie in June. And kind of one of the feelings around Disney seemed to be that Elio was undercut a little bit by Lilo and Stitch. Maybe they're trying to not cannibalize their own films this time, and by moving Avengers, maybe this moves up, and they haven't quite decided yet. But I thought that was also kind of interesting that it just says May 26th instead of the actual release date.
Yeah, I know the video still says in theaters May 22nd, but that's something you can edit right here in the actual video file, keeping it May 2026. That's pretty peculiar. I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to pick up on this trend of like stuff like Demon Slayer, where you're trying to have this be in theaters as long as possible. So maybe they get to push it up a little earlier. It has its huge audience it captures with the TV shows, and now it's like, oh no, but we're finishing off the story with the movie level, right? Where, I mean, the whole thing with the Forge for IMAX, right? You're seeing the perspective change, going from just a regular 16:9 to a full 4:3 by looks of it. That will be pretty interesting. That's our first confirmation that the Mandalorian will actually jump into the arena with the Mantelli and Savrip, which is pretty cool. That's from the whole hollow chest table that we see in episode 4
Mhm.
kind of coming to life is really cool. So that stuff, like, we've already known hints about. Still hearing Jeremy Allen White a little bit more. It's not much more. It's like, okay, so we're getting that. It's also very interesting seeing the poster have the twins, that shot of them from Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Obviously it seems like they're trying to connect these two things together, the son of Jabba versus presumably the biggest Hut forces, the Hut leadership right now, despite what Boba Fett has done to undercut them. So I'm still hoping that this is stuff that's from season 4 that they're repurposing, streamlining a little bit more into the story that will also obviously deal with stuff with like the Shadow Collective and everything else going on there. We saw that image of the shot of the Hutt's enforcer droids of some sorts blocking off some sort of door So maybe it's something to do with the Hutts. My only hope here is like if we're gonna see stuff like this, that obviously seems like it's pulled from a season 4 that was planned to happen, at least give Boba some moments. I know Tamura's been saying like, oh, they haven't said anything to me, they haven't called me. All right, well, if you're gonna still do the Hutt stuff that felt pretty abandoned in Book of Boba Fett after a while, then you should at least have him come up and have one cool action sequence and then still give information and pass it on. Like we're hearing rumors about like Death Watch reappearing, and we know how important that is to the backstory of Din Djarin, and how does that line up with everything that's happened on Mandalore and all that? Are you going to have time to touch on all this stuff? Who knows? But we're seeing stuff that's directly Book of Boba Fett related, stuff that's directly with the Hutts, them on the poster. If we don't see Boba show up here, I would be pretty frustrated with that. We're seeing some stuff with the story. We're seeing some stuff that feels very season 1 and 2, some stuff that feels season 3, planned season 4, Book of Boba Fett. I'm really hoping it hits the balance. So far, this trailer is doing all the right things for me, but I do want to see more plot and more heavy action and a little bit more of that cinematic weight if this is truly forged for IMAX in the next trailer.
I think it just makes more sense to move it up. I was going to pose that question about Boba. Do you think Boba will be in this? And I would love to see Boba. One of my favorite parts of this trailer, but I think it could also be something that when you talk about the television conversion into film, it can be a little scary for the filmmaking side too, is that I love how many different locations we see. I love how many different creatures and robots and just the imagination that's poured in here in the landscapes and the way these planets are crafted and the way it brings in all these iconic elements of the Star Wars underworld and just really builds upon them in a stylistic fashion that's really interesting. But the thing that concerns me a little bit about that sometimes is when you have something that was a TV show converted into film. I'm thinking Moana 2. You get sometimes a lot of locations that were supposed to be in a bunch of different episodes of the show. You cram them all into one movie, and the pacing is awful. I get a little concerned when you hear the season 4 into a film. I have a little more faith in this project specifically just purely because of Jon Favreau. I just want it to be fun. Like, I think if it hits that benchmark of being fun, the pacing can be rough, but if the pacing's rough and you had a good time watching it, it can still be something that's an enjoyable rewatch and an enjoyable piece of the Mandalorian universe. I want this to do well because I want Star Wars movies back in theaters. I'm just hoping that this movie can deliver that. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure, again, you join us for the stream tomorrow. So if you'd like to ask us your questions, we'll get to watch the trailer a few more times and see what we uncover. So we'll do a little bit more of a breakdown and then bring your guys' speculation and thoughts on what you saw in the trailer that we might not have talked about in this video. Make sure you like the video if you haven't. Really helps our channel, and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll be covering the Mandalorian and Grogu. We'll be covering every Star Wars movie and TV show as they come out. Visions is coming out soon as well. We'll be covering that. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we will see you all next time.